Good morning, welcome everyone. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. Good to see everyone on such a beautiful day. So, we have time to start with a little kirtan or no?
We can do Prabhuji.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janabala Girivardhari. Gopi Janabala Girivardhari. Yasodhanandana Brajadana Ranjana. Brajadana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Vad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Sutta Sata Shishi Madi Mind Grace AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Lord Premanandi, Hari Hari, all glories of the devotee, all glories of the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Angaranga, all glories to Shri Guru. Om Gana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadkamala Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatam Tam Vitam Sam Shivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam. Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwe Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Bre Vanchakopatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, before we begin, let's invoke all auspiciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So today we're reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 1. And I think it should be all right if we just read the introduction there for the chapter. So this chapter is titled "The Manus, Administrators of the Universe." So I assume everyone is familiar with who the Manus are. I'll have to admit that previously, to be coming in touch with Krishna consciousness, I had no idea that there was such a person as a Manu. And I'm sure it's not that frequent to understand who the Manus are, but they are the fathers of mankind. And they're lawgivers of the universe, administrators. So this chapter begins, it describes, first of all, and Prabhupada here in the beginning describes his history. So it's very nice to hear Prabhupada describe his own personal history in starting this Krishna conscious movement in his life. So he says, first of all, let me offer my humble, respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Sometime in the year 1935, when His Divine Grace was staying at Radhakund, I went to see him from Bombay. So this is one of Prabhupada's last visits to see him. At the time, he gave me many important instructions in regard to constructing temples and publishing books. He personally told me that publishing books is more important than constructing temples. So we should note that this is Prabhupada's personal received instruction from his spiritual master. First, publish books. Book distribution is more important than constructing temples. Of course, those same instructions remained within my mind for many years. In 1944, I began publishing my Back to Godhead when I retired from family life. In 1958, I began publishing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in Delhi. And we know that when Prabhupada said publishing, first he translated it with great care. Then he typed it, and he took those pages to the printer at his own difficulty, challenged to carry them all the way to the printer he found in Delhi. And he delivered them. Then he proofread all the typeset masters, and then arranged for all the printed books to come back and stay with him in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada did everything in the beginning just to make sure that these books were ready for the world. When 3 parts of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that's the first canto, had been published in India, I then started for United States of America on the 13th August 1965. So that's when Prabhupada boarded the steamship Jaladuta in Bombay Harbor. I am continuously trying to publish books as suggested by my spiritual master. Now in this year, 1976, I have completed the 7th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and a summary of the 10th canto has already been published as Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, the 8th canto, 9th canto, 10th canto, 11th canto, and 12th canto are yet to be published. On this occasion, therefore, I am praying to my spiritual master to give me the strength to finish this work. I am neither a great scholar nor a great devotee. I am simply a humble servant of my spiritual master. And to the best of my ability, I am trying to please him by publishing these books with the cooperation of my disciples in America. Fortunately, scholars all over the world are approaching these publications, are appreciating these publications. Let us cooperatively publish more and more volumes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam just to please His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So let's stop here for a second and just see that this publication and distribution of books was preeminent importance to Srila Prabhupada. It was his primary instruction by his spiritual master. So in the practice of Krishna consciousness, we know that when the spiritual master has a primary instruction, a primary goal, let's call it, service, then that any follower, any disciple, grand disciple who takes up that and assists him in that, it becomes very dear to him. So we are very grateful that all of you devotees, headed by Shivalas Prabhu and again by Sudhir and others, are taking this very seriously and trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. It is such an important point and such an important service, and Prabhupada guaranteed he appreciates it very deeply. He would daily, weekly, whenever the reports came in, he would read them and sometimes read them aloud to his disciples. He relished those reports, seeing how his books were being distributed and how the Bhagavad Gita was being distributed more widely than any other version of Bhagavad Gita that had been printed. So this gave Prabhupada great pleasure. Does anyone have any question on that or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So I think here Prabhupada is telling that distributing books is more important than distributing, building the temples.
Yes, that's exactly the message he's giving us here. And not to say that we shouldn't build temples. Prabhupada did build temples, but even the book distribution, the donations for the book distribution were used to help fund the building of temples. That's the order in which they occurred.
Yes,
anyone else have any comment? I know nowadays there's many different ways to approach distributing books. The devotees here in Alachua, they do distribute them even face to face with their masks on, of course. And I've seen regularly pictures of the happy people who receive them. And Prabhupada said, does anyone know what Prabhupada said about people who get these books, touch these books, read these books? Prabhupada said if they even touch these books or read the one word in these books, their whole life can be changed. They're very, very powerful. Why? Because these books are the literary incarnations of Kṛṣṇa. So people will have Kṛṣṇa in their possession, and then they contact by reading him, and that contact with Kṛṣṇa changes one's life. Very, very valuable and important. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Prabhuji. So the high quality of Prabhupada's books, not only the words themselves, but the paper, the printing, the paintings, all those put together is just totally divine, Prabhuji. So I don't think there's any other translation of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam that has got high quality in everything, consistent in everything, and so affordable also, and just amazing. So that's, so Hari Bol. So that is really, Krishna's touch there. We can tell that it's not an ordinary man's efforts. Hari Bol.
Yes, Prabhupada used to relish reading his own books, saying, "These are not my words, these are Krishna's words."
Yes, absolutely.
So he loved to hear them. And he, as you said, he was insistent that the quality be there. So in the beginning, they tried to publish some books, and they published a couple chapters paperback. And when the pages fell out, when Prabhupada looked at them and some pages fell out already, Prabhupada was not very happy. He did not like that public. So he insisted, he engaged our devotees in painting, and such painting has revolutionized the presentations of Krishna consciousness, because such paintings are so prolific and so detailed. They become windows to the spiritual world. So they open up these whole chapters so we can understand more and more, because by seeing, people are attracted. People get some idea.
Yes.
So then we should go on. The first chapter of the 8th canto may be summarized as a description of 4 manus: Swayambhuva, Svarochisa, Uttam, and Tamasa. By hearing descriptions of the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu until the end of the 7th canto, Maharaj Parikshit desired to know more about the other Manus. He desired to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, not only in the past, but in the present and the future, and how he acts in various pastimes as Manu. Since Parikshit Maharaj was eager to know all this, Sukadeva Goswami gradually described all the Manus, beginning with the 6 Manus who appeared in the past. So already 6 Manus have come and gone in the cycle of this universe, in this day of Brahma. And, these are just not ordinary leaders, ordinary politicians, but they're actually Manvantar, the incarnations of Krishna and Manu to lead and direct human society. So the first Manu was Swayambhuva Manu. His daughters, namely Akuti and Devahuti, gave birth to 2 sons, namely Yagya and Kapila, respectively. Because Sukadeva Goswami had already described the activities of Kapila in the 3rd canto, he now described the activities of Yagya. The original Manu, along with his wife, Shatarupa, went into the forest to practice great austerities on the bank of the river Sunanda. And they practiced austerities for 100 years. And then Manu, in a trance, formed prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Manu takes his duties very seriously, practicing austerities for many years to be empowered by the Lord to perform his duties. Rakshasas and Asuras then attempted to devour him, but Yagya, accompanied by some of the Yamas and the demigods, killed them. Then Yagya personally took the post of Indra, the king of the heavenly planets. The second Manu, whose name was Svarochisa, was the son of Agni, and his sons were headed by Jumant, Shushena, and Rochismat. In the age of this Manu, Rochan became Indra, the ruler of the heavenly planets, and there were many demigods headed by Tushita. There were also many saintly persons such as Urja, and Stamba. Among them are Vedashira, whose wife Tushita gave birth to Vibhu. And Vibhu instructed 88,000 Dhritavratas, or saintly persons, on self-control and austerity. Uttam was the son of Priyavrata and was the third Manu. And some of his sons, among his sons were Pavana, Srinjaya, and Yagyahotra. During the reign of this Manu, the sons of Vishishta, headed by Pramada, became the 7 saintly persons. The Satyas, Devashrutas, and Bhadras became the demigods, and Satyajit became Indra. From the womb of Sunrita, the wife of Dharma, the Lord appeared as Satyasena, and he killed all the Yakshasas and Rakshasas who were fighting with Satyajit. Damasa was the brother of the third Manu and was the 4th Manu. And he had 10 sons, including Prithu, Kyati, Nara, and Ketu. During his reign, the Satyakas, Haris, and Viras, and others were demigods. And the 7 great saints were headed by Jyotirdama, and Trishika became Indra. Harimeda begot a son named Hari in the womb of his wife Harini. This Hari, an incarnation of God, saved the devotee Gajendra. And this incident is described as Gajendra Mokshana. At the end of this chapter, Parikshit Maharaj particularly asks about this incident. So any questions, comments? These are the details, the histories of all the persons who are involved in the ruling of mankind and in the maintenance of the society. Has anyone heard of the Manu Samhita? Raise your hand if you've heard. Few of you. So these are the original laws for human society, not the mundane laws passed by different congresses and bodies of different states across the globe. But Manu gives very specific rules for society. And these are, of course, all based on the Vedas. So sometimes Prabhupada may quote these. So this is another activity that they perform. So any other question?
So Prabhuji, we hear about Manu Samhita and also Manu Smriti. I'm just not clear about difference between Samhita and Smriti. Is it just that it is rules, and Samhita is just an explanation or elaboration, and then Smriti is more specific rules? Is that what it is? Or other?
I'm not familiar with both books, and all I know is that the Manu Samhita does contain the laws. Whatever else it's contained in, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what else is in there. Prabhupada did not translate it, and nor have I seen it. Have you seen it translated?
No, Prabhuji. I once remember going through. It's very detailed. It is something like just more and more very, very detailed rules, and also I think it's more time specific. Like it changes according to the customs and cultures and things like that. So how much of that is relevant to different periods? Again, scholars have to debate and all that, but it's very, very specific.
So Manu is the teacher, the giver of the rules and guidance for all the leaders in human society, both at his present time and throughout the whole duration of his term. And unfortunately, people don't know what those laws are anymore, nor are they inclined to follow them. And as a result, human society has so much struggles and chaos. But let's get into the verses of today. This was just like an overview of what's coming. Yeah. So, text 1. Shri Raju Vacha Swayambhuvasyaya Guru Vamsoyam Vitarachchuta Yatra Vishvashijam Sargo Manum Anyan Vadasvana. O King Parikshit. No, say King Parikshit said, O my Lord, my spiritual master, now I have fully heard from your grace about the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu. But there are also other Manus, and I want to hear about their dynasties. Kindly describe them to us. So there's no purport there. But we do know that these Manus are there, and we can even ask if anyone knows who is the current Manu.
Vaivasthita.
Excuse me?
Vaivasthita.
Vaivasthita Manu, yes. So these Manus are very special and important, and we'll get to hear a little bit more in the next verse. Excuse me. Sorry, you have to excuse me here. These are not so great glasses. Sometimes I can see clearly and sometimes not. Hare Manvantare Hare Janma Karmani Mahiyasa Grinanti Kavyo Brahmams Dani no Vada Shrinvatam. O learned Brahmana, Sukadeva Goswami, the great learned persons who are completely intelligent, describe the activities and appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead during these various manvantars. We are very eager to hear about these narrations. Kindly describe them. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has different incarnations, including Guna avatars and Manvantara avatars, Leela avatars, and Yuga avatars, all of which are described in the Shastra. Without reference to the Shastra, there can be no question of accepting anyone as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, as especially mentioned herein, Grinanti Kavya, the descriptions of various incarnations are accepted by great learned scholars with perfect intelligence. At the present time, especially in India, so many rascals are claiming to be incarnations, and people are being misled. Therefore, the identity of an incarnation should be confirmed by the descriptions of Shastra and by wonderful activities. As described in this verse, the word mahiyasa, the activities of an incarnation are not ordinary magic or jugglery, but are wonderful activities. Thus, any incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be supported by the statements of Shastra and must actually perform wonderful activities. Parikshit Maharaj was eager to hear about the Manus of different ages. There are 14 Manus during the day of Brahma, and the age of each Manu lasts for 71 yugas. Thus, there are thousands of Manus during the life of Brahma. And so let's just make sure we read the other verse, the last verse for today. Yad yasmin antare Brahman Bhagavan Vishvabhavana Kritavan kurute karta hiyatite nangate java. O learned Brahmins, kindly describe to us whatever activities the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created this cosmic manifestation, has performed in the past Manvantaras, and is performing at present and will perform in the future Manvantaras. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said that both he and other living entities present on the battlefield had existed in the past. They existed at the present, and they would continue to exist in the future. Past, present, and future always exist, both for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and for ordinary living entities. Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Both the Lord and the living entities are eternal and sentient. But the difference is that the Lord is unlimited, whereas the living entities are limited. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the creator of everything, and although the living entities are not created, but exist with the Lord eternally. Their bodies are created, whereas the Supreme Lord's body is never created. There is no difference between the Supreme Lord and his body, but the conditioned soul, although eternal, is different from his body. So we should begin our discussion here with this verse from the first canto, third chapter, text 28. Ete cham sakala pumsam Kṛṣṇastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vayakulam Lokam Mridyante Yuge Yuge. All the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets wherever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So we're hearing about so many different incarnations here. And each Manvantar has a specific time and duties to perform. And what does the Manvantar do? He makes sure that the administration of the universe goes very nicely. So one of the things that disturb the administration is what? Demons. Rakshasas attacking the demigods and trying to overtake the universe and institute their own societies for sense gratification. So the Manus are empowered exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead to chastise these demons and to keep order and Krishna's directions going in human society. And they also give guidance for administration, how human society is meant to live. So previously, in previous ages, people would follow this very carefully. But in this age of Kali, even the lowest Shudra thinks that he can say what the government is meant to do and what is right and what is wrong. Some places they have great debates, on whether they should be allowed to kill the child within the womb, and who has the authority to do so. But we know that the authority comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are atheists, they think that no, it is my right to decide. I am the owner of this body, and therefore I can decide. But that is not how Manu governs the universe. He gives guidance according to Krishna's direction. So as a result, in modern society, there is so much chaos, so much injustice, so much relativity in what is right and what is wrong. Now we see sometimes persons they commit murders, and yet they are allowed to live out and sometimes even return to human society.
Hey, Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, your voice is not audible.
Oh, really?
No, it's good now.
Oh, it must be the book is covering something here. So this is, in this age, people are misguided and unlucky. I dropped the page. And they're always disturbed, confused. So therefore, human society is actually led by those who are very unintelligent and foolish. This is the case, and the leaders, they misuse their power for their own purposes, for their own enjoyment, and they cause the citizens so much suffering. So we know that in this day of Brahma, how many different manus are there? Anyone can remember?
14, Prabhu.
14, yes. And each one has 72 cycles that they oversee. 72. So that is a quite long period of time. They live much longer than us. Yet still, they're constantly changing during the time and lifespan of Lord Brahma. Over the entire 1 year of Brahma, there are 5,040 different manus. So they're coming and going. But each one has their duty, and the duties are the same. And these persons, they are directly under the charge of Lord Brahma to maintain proper balance and activities in the human society. So the first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. And he is also known as the direct incarnation of Kṛṣṇa. He and his wife are created directly by Lord Brahma to maintain human society. So these are very special personalities, and we see that in the descriptions that we've read already about his life, very extraordinary. So I just wondered, everyone has heard today some of the description of the different types of incarnations there are of Kṛṣṇa. So this verse we read today about Ete Chamsa is describing that there's so many different types of incarnations of Kṛṣṇa. I know for me, becoming a devotee of Kṛṣṇa, this was amazing to hear that I was given the information that God only appears once in the universe, and that's it. But actually not true. He appears again and again. Whenever, what? When does he appear? Anyone can say?
No, there is a decline in religious practices.
And what else does he do? He protects the devotees and defeats the demons. So Kṛṣṇa is very much actively involved in human society and in all societies. Kṛṣṇa does not abandon us. He is constantly trying to recruit us to go back home, back to Godhead. Unfortunately, living entities, and we have in this age of Kali, which is the most fallen of ages, we can see that people are atheistic. They're not interested in God. And if by chance they are interested in God, they think that he is simply an order supplier. Whatever I want, he will supply. So they pray for their own materialistic benefits. They want a happy life, a good family, a nice spouse, good children, good wife, good home, good money, just to continue on their suffering in the material world. They think this is the best enjoyment there is, but actually Kṛṣṇa comes to tell us that no, this is not your place. You don't belong here. You need to go back to where I'm from. the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha. And there, everything is free from all these struggles, all these sufferings. That is where we're meant to live and exist, not here in this world of duality and suffering. So Kṛṣṇa comes as guna avatars. Does anyone know guna avatar, which ones they are?
Prabhuji, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
Yes, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, taking charge of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then there's another group called Lila avatars. And these are the avatars. Kṛṣṇa comes simply to show his activities in the spiritual world. He shows what he does, what is just to attract us with his different kinds of activities. Then there is Yuga avatars. So there are so many cycles in history, and they're called yugas. And we are currently in the Kali Yuga. So 432,000 years, and Kṛṣṇa appears. He doesn't leave us abandoned. He appears just to guide us and tell us what is the process of worship, and to encourage us to practice. So Kṛṣṇa continues on, and now we have the Manvantars, and they're guiding human society. And then we have also another category, Shaktyavesh avatars. And these are specific living entities that are powered with some special Shakti of the Lord for a specific purpose. So these powers are coming from Kṛṣṇa. They exhibit extraordinary powers and abilities that are not commonly seen in human society. So Kṛṣṇa is coming again and again in so many different ways to continue. He is very actively involved in human society. So at the end of the 14 Manus, which is during one day of Brahma, there is a devastation. The whole universe is covered up because Brahma takes rest. When he goes to sleep, the whole universe is devastated. And then when he again awakens for the next day, again everything starts again. So again, another 14 Manus come. So this is the marks in history that by which we see the progress of society and the progress of history. So, wow, it's very difficult to read here.
Ask someone else to read.
No, just my own notes here. So, yes, we're at the end. There is also, I was reading last night how there's a devastation that occurs at the end of the Chakshusha Manu, which is the one just before this. And that happens because Brahma feels tired and decides to take a nap. So just see how powerful. When Brahma takes a nap, there's a devastation. I know when I take a nap, I feel like I was in a devastation. But when Brahma takes it, the whole universe goes through a devastation. And then what is happening there? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is interacting with his devotee, Satyavrata, and he appears before him as Matsya Avatar, the fish incarnation. So when the devastation is going on, this fish comes and he saves the Vedas and saves Satyavrata. So many different interesting and attractive activities are going on. There's no limit to the number of incarnations of the Lord. Just like you may see how many waves there are on the shore of the ocean, there's no limit. So in the same way, there's no limit to the number of incarnations. And so this is a sign of Krishna's mercy, how he's trying to continue to attract and encourage the living entities to turn their attention towards him and take up devotional service unto him. So let me stop here for a moment and ask if anyone has any questions about all this. We may wonder, like, okay, this doesn't sound so exciting. Why is this in the Bhagavatam? But Parikshit Maharaj, he's seeing, no, this Manvantars, they're incarnations of Krishna. I want to hear about it. I want to know everything that Krishna does in his different forms. Because it is all beautiful, it's all attractive, it is all spiritual. So, any questions? Vamsi?
Yes, Kashish Mandaji has a question. Yes,
Oh.
please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Actually, my question is related with the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhuji, we have in the beginning read that the Bhagavad Gita was instructed by Sri Krishna to Vivaswan, and then he instructed to Manu, and Manu instructed to his son Ishwaku. So my confusion is that it was which Manu? Because here we are reading that Swayambhu Manu was the first Manu, and his sons were Yajna.
Yeah, well, there's different.
To whom the Bhagavad Gita was instructed by that is different. Okay.
Well, Krishna gives the information exactly how, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, how it was spoken. But Bhagavad Gita is eternal. So it's Krishna comes and delivers it again and again whenever there's need for reestablishing in human society. Oh, it's Ananta. It's ringing. So this is
so that
Krishna.
Manu is different from these Manus.
Yeah, well, that Manu is our Manu, but there's so many. There's 14 in one day of Brahma, and there's 5,040 in the life of, in 1 year of Brahma. Excuse me, 1 year. There's 5,040. So there's Manus are continuously coming in society. Just like here, we have. We might say we have one president every 4 years. So it keeps coming again and again, not that one person is president for all time. Is that your question? Hello?
I think the audio got stuck, Prabhuji, Mataji's audio.
Oh, yeah. She's gone. She disappeared.
Now she's back.
Yes, Prabhuji, my internet is disrupting. I'm sorry for that.
So was that the answer to your question?
Actually, I couldn't hear it, but I'll go and revise it in the recordings. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay. I want to ask you what part didn't you hear, but you don't know that.
Prabhuji, I think Mataji did not hear the precedent, example you gave. Maybe that she missed.
Well, like in human society in America, for example, we have a new president every 4 years. So they're continuously changing. They have so many presidents. So Manus are also changing. Just like if we read here that Uttam was the third Manu, and he is the son of Priyavrata. And, he takes up that position as Manvantar, the Manu, for some time. So he's continuously changing.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else have some question?
So the father of Vivasvat Manu was Vivaswan, right?
I think so, yeah. That's my information. Yeah. Actually, it's given in one place in the Bhagvatam that his name is Savarni. So that is the name. Sometimes they give the position name, sometimes they give the person's name. And after this, we'll
Prabhuji, as
call
per my understanding, Vivaswan was the sun god.
Vivaswan was the sun god, but his son, Manu, was Savarni.
Yes,
Or we know it Vaivashvata Manu.
yes.
Because Vaivashvatu, I think, indicates some age, some time period.
That's the current Manu, the 7th Manu,
Yeah.
which is going on right now. Mataji's question. That's the current Manu. We are in the 7th. We are like
excuse
half
me.
day.
I'm sorry, my notes are a little bit hard to read
The
here.
7th Manu is Vivasvat Manu, who is the son of.
Vaivashvata, okay, Savarni is the one that comes after this. He's the 8th. And he is also coming from the sun god. Vaivashvata. So, can anyone remember and name the first 4 Manus?
Swayambhuva, Priyavrata, Uttama, and
Tamasa.
And what was the last one?
Tamasa.
Okay, well, you got the second one incorrect. The second one is Svarochisa.
Swarochisa.
He is the son of Agni.
Yeah, yes. Swayambhuva, Swarochisa, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivita, Chakshusu, Vaivishvata, Savarni, Daksha. Right, Prabhuji?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. So the previous, so the first 7 cantos, do they deal with the descendants of Swayambhav Manu? Or am I wrong in that?
Sorry, I'll have to defer to Shuvela, see if he knows the answer to that. I know the descendants were given in the previous canto, but I think it was the I think it was in the 3rd canto. Especially we have Kapila Dev given at that time.
Kapil Dev, Dhruva Maharaj, all these are his descendant, Uttanpa, Dhruva Maharaj. So, yeah, yes, the answer is yes.
So before they were not covered systematically, but now in this canto, Parikshit Maharaj wants to hear who are all the Manus coming.
Okay.
Will come and will come. Just some specific individuals were given before, but now they're given more chronologically.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
So any other questions or comments?
So Prabhuji, we hear about the Daksha in the previous canto. Is it the same Daksha we're going to see here in the form of Manu?
This Daksha is going to be the I think he's the son of Savarni. I don't know if he's the same one.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to wait and see further on in the 8th canto. I think maybe leave some information like that.
That's good. Thanks.
But Daksha is also like a position. He's a progenitor, Prajapati. So Prajapatis are required by Lord Brahma so that the universe is populated. All the living entities get their appropriate bodies to perform their actions according to their previous desires and karma. So they need a body to do that. And there are different Prajapatis who are assigned that responsibility. And they take it very seriously. They go and they perform austerities and meditation for many, many years, so they are qualified to do this great service. And they give birth to all different species of life. So, they're not ordinary living beings, just like, you and your wife would be surprised if you were giving birth to different species of animals. But these things happen in the Prajapatis. They're just populating the universe. But Daksha, as we heard previously, became very proud because there's a potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be able to do this. Not any ordinary living entity can do this, but he became very proud of his activities and his position. And as a result of that pride, he created offense against his own father-in-law, Lord Shiva. So it was very unfortunate. And such offenses are taken seriously. There is a result to those offenses. So just as we have offenses in chanting of the Maha Mantra, performance of devotional service, offenses against in the worship of the deity, offenses against other living entities. There's so many different offenses. And we have to be aware that our activities are not whimsical. There is a correct way to perform them, a correct mentality by which we perform our activities. And if they're not done correctly, there is all possibility we will get some reaction. So the good fortune is, although that we're born in Kali Yuga and we're very ignorant and very lazy and slow, if we just chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we will get through this much easier. Because the power of this mantra is so great. It is the incarnation of Krishna in the mantra for this age. So I know you are taking this very seriously, Umesh, and chanting. And you should know that Prabhupada, for example, in deity worship said that Nitai do not accept offenses. So therefore he encouraged us in our homes to worship Nitai. But if you worship Radha and Krishna, there are many offenses you can create. So we want our paths to be smooth and to be progressive. But offenses, they put blocks and you're stuck. You can't go beyond that. And you may even appear to go downwards, backwards, due to offenses, if the block is serious enough. Therefore, one of those blocks is what? What is one of those serious blocks? You know? Umesh?
No problem.
Well, offenses against devotees is very serious. And another offense is offenses against the guru. Very serious. So one has to take these activities. Of course, there are 8 other offenses against the holy name, but these 2 are very prominently mentioned, is because they are very, we have to be very careful about them. Anyone else? Other questions? Comments? Is everyone very aware of all these manvantars? It's all kind of new, different information, but again, it is here in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, therefore it is transcendental, and is all connecting us with Krishna. So in the Bhagavatam, there are 10 different subjects that are mentioned, and everything that is described falls within those 10 subjects. And this is one of them, the histories. So important for us to be aware of them and not to ignore them, and stay focused on our practices of Krishna consciousness. So any other types of questions anyone has? You're all doing well and you have no questions. That's good.
Prabhuji, there are so many questions, but just trying to understand bit by bit.
Well, give me one of them.
So Prabhuji, if I understand, so in one kalpa, we have this 1,000 yugas, right? I mean, thousand, cycles of yugas, right?
Okay.
And these manus, but in the whole kalpa, there are only 14 manus. So, each manu has, you said 70,
72.
72 chatur yugas, right, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Okay. So, and we are in this seventh, Manvantara, and
Yeah.
okay, yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, that was my confusion. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. You already resolved it.
So sometimes, like, a devotee may want to know more about the progress of the universe. Krishna may relate, but we don't want to get stuck like, I think there was one devotee, I'm trying to remember the name, he wanted to see the devastation. So he had to live through the entire devastation of the universe. I don't think that's a good desire for us to maintain, because it's a very fearful and difficult time. So we should stay and keep our desires focused on trying to please Krishna and to come to know him more deeply.
It's probably, it's a waste of time.
Not a waste, but for us, we have such limited time. We will not live through different devastations of the universe. So better to focus on what we can learn quickly. Someone else has a question here?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can you explain please the Yuga Avatar name?
Yuga Avatar.
Name.
Which one? Who is the Yuga Avatar for this age?
As per Gauranga Prabhuji.
Gauranga. Yes. So in every age, it's described in the Shastra. What is the color? Who are his parents? What are his activities? So that we should know. Like, I don't know if any of you have heard mentioned, because most all of you are from India. In your exposure, have you heard of anyone that's claimed to be an avatar of Krishna, incarnation of Krishna?
Yeah,
Not actual, but false.
So many, Prabhuji.
I know I remember hearing one, he had many, many big hairs coming. And people would come to, oh yes, you have to see. You put his picture and all these ashes come out. So here Prabhupada is saying that's nonsense. That's not a wonderful activity to produce ashes. A wonderful activity we can see in the incarnations of Krishna in his different forms. They're very wonderful and astonishing. Never do we read about someone producing ashes. So people are misled. And as a result, they go deep and down into the lower modes of nature and continue their suffering. Any other questions, Kumar?
Yeah, Prabhuji. So just trying to get clarity on what we should desire or we should aim for. Like, so Prabhupada was always asking us to go back to Godhead. So we have to move to the transcendental platform. So should we have a specific desire, or because in some places we are told we should go to Golok Vrindavan, other places we are told, we don't have any desire. Wherever Krishna takes us, even to Patal, we have to be ready to go. Other is, we should just be here on earth and distribute transcendental knowledge of Krishna. So all these, opinions are there. But when we pray, we should have only one goal. So what should be the one place? It's not a place in the sense of physical time and space, but what should be our desire when we pray, or when we chant, or when we do any kind of puja? What destination should we have in mind, Prabhuji? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Well, the way I learned was that our main goal should be to please Guru. And if we please Guru, then we know that Krishna automatically will be pleased. And then we will achieve everything that is possible. And in the pleasing of Guru, we have no discrimination. Whatever he wants to do, whatever service to give is nectarian.
Very good.
It may not seem so attractive, some things to us, like his Western disciples traveling with him in India first time on the train, and the train stops and Prabhupada says, get off and start a temple. They have no money, no men, no place to stay, nothing. And Prabhupada says, get off and start a temple. So only if you have faith in Guru can you do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have faith in Guru, you say, why? Why should it be me? Why? Wait, I need this and that and so many other things. We can see Prabhupada described, sometimes there's a history, Gaudiya Math, that, Prabhupada, they said, oh, yes, we'll properly, when we go, we send some proper person and they will be trained in this way and they will have so much backing and this and that. Prabhupada came to America with nothing except his faith in Guru. He had that order of the Guru, and that's all that he was focused on, trying to please Guru. And as a result, so many wonderful things happened. So for us, the pleasure of Guru is happiness. And within that pleasure of Guru, of course, is pleasing Krishna.
Very good.
So obviously, we are not so simple-minded that we'll end up with just one desire. We all have many desires, right? You have only one desire, Kumar?
I don't even know what that is.
So
Yeah,
we
so
have different desires.
Yeah, mind is very fickle. Yeah.
But in spiritual life, we also have many desires, and we can see in the description of Bhagavatam many different desires according to time and circumstance, what may happen. But they're all centered around the same purpose, to give pleasure to Guru and Krishna.
Yeah. So it's like finding Krishna, it's like finding Guru, basically. So we had to find, then the big challenge is to find the right Guru, or not to be so discriminatory about Guru.
So the description is given is that by the mercy of Krishna, one gets Guru. And by the mercy of Guru, one will actually get Krishna.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, Krishna is guiding us to help us find Guru. Once we find him, then he's training us and guiding us so that we can actually approach Krishna.
Very good.
We don't want to imagine anything. We don't want to make the wrong steps and do something that's not correct for us. We want to take the right steps that will give us the right results. Ekant, do you have any questions?
You're on mute, Prabhuji.
Ekant, take off mute. There you go.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, Prabhu, not at this time. Just still trying to understand all the manus and although you guys think it's still pretty premature, I think, at this point. But this is good initial steps for me to understand where we are, how many manus we have. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, you're welcome. So, Chivilas, I think maybe we can end here because there's not other questions.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So we'll express, everyone, please turn your microphones, videos on to express our deep gratitude to His Grace Ramiya Prabhu. I know this is a complex topic, but Prabhuji did so nicely for us, giving us the essence of these topics. So we'll express our deep gratitude by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo, 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 Haribo. His Grace Ramiya Prabhu ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Thank you so much, everyone. We have our 11:30 program. If anyone wants to join about the importance of Bhagavatam at Orlando, you can tune in if you desire, and we'll connect then tomorrow again in the evening. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha pattanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo. Hare Krishna.